who don't know me, I'm Gloria. Yes, I only show half of my face. Thanks, Maxine, for the reminder. I'm design director for the Growth Lifecycle team. I'm a white woman with almost white hair, but that's pretty recent. I'm wearing, sorry? Okay. I'm wearing blue jeans. And I was debating myself now how to describe my sweater because I didn't know if it's purple or pink. And then I got in this debate myself. And then I thought, okay, just take it off. But I have the worst reveal ever because I'm wearing the exact same color. So anyway, I just had to look it up. And just for the nerds in the room, the color is called Fandango. The hex is B5338A. And the RGB is 181, 51, 137. So you know now. Anyway, I'm here to talk to you about trust. You've heard this morning from the talking from Sam and Mamuso how GitHub is heavily reliant on trust, right? Individuals generally trust us with their security, their workflows, their privacy. Companies, as they mentioned this morning, they trust us enough to give us enough money every month to keep their business afloat. And open source communities trust us with the work of their lives. And that's a lot. So here's a question for you. How might we build trust? But more importantly, in this sentence, who is the we? Is it the people in the Zoom call? Is it the people who's in the meeting room? Developers, designers, product managers? Is it GitHub as a business? Is it me as a designer? This is a very complicated question to answer, right? So we will start with an easier one and a bit more meta. Who are we? That should be fairly easy to answer. We are a bunch of people who got together here for a conference. We are also members of a small community of designers who happen to work at GitHub. We are also part of our local and global design communities, depending on the area we live in. And we are also part of an even larger community, which is the tech community. And I bet if you ask anyone in this room, who are you? Something interesting is that no one will care to categorize themselves as I'm an open source designer. I'm a mid-sized company designer. I am an enterprise designer, right? So we consider ourselves product designers, researchers, brand designers, etc. So regardless of the projects that we work on or the companies we work at. Each of us has different origins, backgrounds, experiences, abilities, skills. And as Katie and Lucas told us yesterday, this influences the way we show up for each other and the way we collaborate together. And thank you very much for teaching me Americans don't do full stops. I didn't know. I apologize if I ever full stop someone. So it wasn't in that intention. But anyway, ultimately, is the sum of our experiences what make us show up as a collective, what make us be a community. And we generally look for communities or third places, like Lisa, I don't know what she said yesterday. I love that way of saying it. We generally look for these communities where we can belong to, regardless of the type of company that allows us to pay rent, right? Because communities help us feel a sense of belonging based on our identities and help us grow. And here's the thing, it doesn't matter where we apply our skills. Our craft always comes first. It comes first when it comes to defining our identity as designers, researchers, or engineers. And here's a revealing piece of information, in case you never got here. So enterprise developers don't exist. Open source developers don't exist either. They are oftentimes divided by the programming languages they use, or just front-end and back-end. Their craft, generally. So engineers like us might have different needs depending on the companies they work at, for sure. They might need public or private projects. They might have compliance needs, cost control, governance, but that doesn't change their craft. That doesn't change who they are. Both designers, developers, and really any person who's into any craft, like Chelsea showed us yesterday with all the sewing stuff. We spend a reasonable amount of time, I would say, off the clock, toying with new ideas, with new frameworks, with new technologies, with new techniques. We read about them, we talk about them, and we write about them. And the things we learn while doing so, we apply them in our daily work, to our pet projects, and we share them back with the communities we belong to. And one of them is as well our work environment, like we are doing here these days. The amount of time we have to try out new things is very reduced, as you all know, and if you have kids, it's even smaller. But we oftentimes get caught on new things because they are shared by people like us, or they are built by people like us from people like us. And we know that because of the care and the attention to detail, the quality of the end-to-end experiences, as Toby and Jan shared yesterday, the wings to our craft, the refinements we didn't know in our work that we needed in our workflows, or the small moments of joy they bring us, or like Aurora said in this tweet, the mimo, the love you put into something you care about. These tools that engage with us, or that we get engaged with, inspires trust, and it inspires confidence because they are uplifting our community and they are making us better designers. So we can say a key part of trust comes from belonging. Then going back to my first question, that was a bit difficult to answer. Maybe now it's a bit easier, or we can have an idea. So who is the we in the how might we? We are the communities we belong to, is the people who are using the product, the people who are building the product, the people who we share a craft with, and the people who we share new learnings with. We can say that we is the community we trust. Defining we as the users, the communities, and the people who create our product instead of the people sitting in the room or in the Zoom call creates this reciprocal relation between us and the greater communities. Moreover, it generates new communities where feedback loops are tight and people care enough to spend their off-the-clock time learning more, creating artwork, sharing and writing about the community, and generally making it better. Defining we as our community instead of looking at it from the fence is what will allow us to build trust with our customers, users, and ultimately being part of the community instead of talking at it like Martin always says. However, there's always like this caveat, right? In our daily work, it's very easy to default designing based on specs, constraints, requirements, existing patterns, and reading about research results from a Google Doc. This can create a void. We can fall for biases and not getting the full picture. It's very easy to end up designing at instead of designing with, and to design being reactive to problems instead of anticipating them. How different it is reading about screen readers or assistive technology, or seeing someone actually using one, like we could see this morning or yesterday in the customer panel we had, or even trying to use it ourselves, like in the accessibility bootcamp where we had the opportunity to use ourselves voice control. Or how different it is having a picture in mind of how open source spaces look like, or being actually in one. So I would like to encourage everyone to look outside the Figma frame, to experience, engage, and have fun with the communities that we are responsible for and we are part of. Engaging when research takes place instead of afterwards. Because sometimes when we lift our eyes from the Figma frame, things might look a bit different. So going back to my question, how might we? I think it's essentially a change of mindset that's very hard to do sometimes. We should try to take a step back and engage with our communities, with research, keeping the customer at the core of the experience by being on the same side of the story instead of in front of them. So here's a small homework for everyone. When next time you read a how might we in an issue or in a Google Doc, I would like you to reevaluate who the we is in that case. And if the customer or the communities aren't there, or if you aren't sure, I would like to encourage everyone to take a step back, looking away from the specs, looking away from the Figma frame, taking the customer seat for a moment, and asking the same question from their perspective. How might we? Thank you.